Hello and welcome to the Vergecast, the flagship podcast of things that look like photos but may or may not actually be photos. I'm Jake Kasternakis, executive editor of Verge. Nilay and David remain on parental leave. They'll be back later this year. With me in the studio today, B Song.
Hi. And
from Seattle, we've got Allison Johnson.
Hello.
And Allison is hosting Tuesday's Vergecast episode too, so tune in for that. It's going to be a good time.
That's right. Yep, my first episode. Stoked.
Very exciting. Today is Pixel extravaganza. We've got a ton of Pixel stuff to talk about, like literally like too many Pixel things to talk about. Nonstop series of announcements on Wednesday at the Made by Google event. It was 4 Pixel 10 models, some new earbuds, some new smartwatches, ton of AI, way too much AI. V and Allison got a chance to play with all this stuff. Before we talk about the phones, we have to talk about the event because this is the single weirdest announcement event.
Traumatized.
You know, can I say the first episode that I think we were doing without Nilay and David?
Yeah,
I believe began with UV going to the same venue for
same place, different venue.
Same place, different venue, and saying that was a chaotic time. I don't want to do this again. And now Google's made you go back to the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
I was not pleased finding out it was at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. I was like, really, guys? Really? It was slightly better organized, though. It was at this place called Steiner Studios, which is a movie studio, which, really should have, clued to us before what this event was going to be like, because I just remember when in the run-up, some inside baseball in the run-up to this, we're like, what is this event going to be? And Google will be like, it's a surprise. It's a surprise, guys. And I was like, but why does it have to be in Brooklyn Navy Yard? And they were like, well, it's a surprise. And I was like, oh my God, guys, really, for real, off the record, you can't tell me nothing. And they're like, it's a surprise. And I was like, okay.
It was a surprise.
It was a surprise. It was a surprise.
So for folks who didn't watch this event, normally, I think everybody knows what a keynote looks like. The executives get up on stage. They kind of do a deep dive. They talk to you about the ins and outs of the phones and the new stuff.
There's a bento box after the
end there's a bento box. Yeah, it's it's pretty nerdy. It's for us. It's for fans. It's it is to tell you about the ins and outs of these products. Google didn't do that.
No, they did not.
What did Google do?
Google ushered a bunch of us into this little studio, and there was an applause sign up in the rafters, and there was a warm-up comic, and he was like, hey guys, are you guys pumped for Pixel phones? Look at you nerds with your laptops on your thing, and you love phones, don't you guys? But I need you to get loud for Jimmy Fallon. He's backstage. Is this all you're going to give for Jimmy? Is this the energy you have for Jimmy? What publication do you work for? And I'm sitting there going what the fuck is happening? Where am I? What is happening? And so then, Jimmy Fallon comes out, and he is joined by Rick Osterloh, and they sit on a couple of comfy couches, and I'm in the front row for this, and I look up, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a teleprompter, and I can read everything they're going to say before it happens. What is happening? And then all of a sudden, Jimmy would be like, Tensor, and clapping his hands like a seal.
We're going to talk about Tensor chips. We're going to talk about IP numbers.
And I was like, I feel like I'm in an episode of WandaVision, because I don't know, if you've never been in any kind of filming situation, you kind of really have to be keyed up. You have to be like, rah, I just had a Red Bull and here's my energy, because any energy that's in studio that feels way too much is hopefully it's not hopeful, but it is going to get diluted and filtered when it finally gets across your screen. But when you're in the studio audience, you're like, oh my God, it's hitting me in the face. All of this energy that's happening, all of the artifice and the stageness of it. And I was just like, oh my God, Cody Rigsby, from the Peloton instructor who was very famous and was on Dancing with the Stars, is there, and he's going hey girl, let's do a workout. I was like, no, please.
So they basically made a fake episode of The Tonight Show, right? But it was all about the pixels. They even had like special guests.
They had special guests. They had a QVC
They had pre-filmed
segment.
videos.
Like
there was right.
There was a segment where they're there, and I was like, I'm either watching Good Morning America or QVC as they go through the entire lineup. They're making a lot of digs at like Apple. At one point, one of the Googlers was like, "We can say the A word." And I was like, "Oh my god, are we for real right now? What is happening? What is happening?"
So we saw Steph Curry, Alex Cooper, the Jonas Brothers, Kareem from Subway Takes.
Yeah,
it was a big list.
The Jonas Brothers made a music video on their Pixel phone. It was very much like they do shot on iPhone. What about shot on Pixel? And I was like, oh God, okay, here we are.
I think what's like interesting about this, and maybe a little confusing about this, is like this was clearly meant for a bigger audience. Mm-hmm. But like Allison, I'm curious, having watched this remotely, like, did you think that this is a thing a normal human would watch? I'm curious, like, if this actually is going to connect with people more than a traditional keynote would.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all get that. We're like, this event wasn't for us. They had the embargo lift an hour beforehand. So like all of us nerds could see the specs, talk about it, think about it. And then there was this Jimmy Fallon thing. Like, I know that logically. I was still sitting there watching it, just like cringing, you know? It was like the thing you said to me about the energy level. It felt very keyed up watching it.
From across the country. It was more keyed up in studio. There's a lot of tech journalists who I am friends with, and we were all just looking at each other like, the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then one before the warm-up comic was just like, and just so you guys know, once filming starts, you cannot get up to pee. And then one of my journalist friends messaged me and he was like, oh my God, they were serious. I have to pee and they would not let me go.
Okay, first they came for our water bottles.
Now
we can't pee. Oh my God.
Now we can't pee. And I felt, honest to God, like I was in the Twilight Zone and that I was losing it. I just, between the flashing applause signs that went off every time Jimmy made a joke, he could not find a Pixel device that he was not wowed by. Like,
Marquez pointed out in a tweet that at one point he is holding the Pixel Fold upside down.
Yeah, it was for my story.
It was from yours.
And just thrilled, like so excited to look at that upside down Pixel phone.
IP numbers. First, I was like, IP numbers? Doesn't he mean IP addresses? But I think he was actually talking about the dust and waterproofing IP numbers. So I was not convinced that Jimmy knew actually what a big deal it is for IP68 on a foldable. I was not convinced. and I was like, there's no way on earth Jimmy Fallon is that excited about tensor chips.
This is the thing. Let us be excited about IP ratings. Someone is. It's not Jimmy. He can't encroach on our space like that.
Right.
And so, okay, do you think that they will try this again, right? Because like the keynote has been changing, right? Like Apple sort of invented this format. And then more recently, Apple has already kind of shifted away from it with their pre-made videos, which are maybe like halfway between a traditional keynote and like hey, everybody watch this big, long commercial. Like, do we think that Google keeps trying this?
I mean, I did talk to a lot of Googlers on the ground, some of which, fans of the show will know. And, everyone was very curious to know what the reaction was. And I felt bad because I was processing it in real time. And I was like, it sure was a show. And the thing that I kept hearing over and over again was that they were trying to reach a new audience. And I'm not sure they know what that new audience that they're trying to reach is, because like, who exactly is this for? It's not for us. I know it's not for us, like the tech nerds and the tech journalists. Mm-hmm. I do think it's for a new audience, but I'm like, who? Because the grandmas are not going to stream this at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, even though they might like Jimmy Fallon. And then the kids on TikTok are 100,000% not going to stream this live, even if they like the Subway Takes guy and call her daddy. So who is this for?
Yeah, it sort of feels like the late night format lately is Mia talked about this on her
Yeah.
episodes, is like built to get those little TikTok clips out of
Mhm.
whatever's happening. And I don't know if there was anything that happened that would be interesting in a different context. Like none of that. I don't know.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Like maybe this was just designed to get a bunch of viral TikTok moments.
I
Like
think
that's
I think it, like, and I
Yeah.
get it to it in my piece, but I think they're just realizing that, in the Jobs era, they needed media to create the buzz. They needed the, traditional outlets. They needed the diehards to create that buzz online to talk about the products. And now they can just skip us entirely not entirely, because of course we were invited. They want us to talk about these products, but like they can also go around us a little bit and go straight to the people online through the relationships that they have with these viral influencers, through the relationships that they have with these celebrities. And it's been really interesting to see the reaction on online about what people thought, because there were some Apple fanboys who were like, "Oh my god, Google's so cringe. Like the Apple is so much better." And then the Google fanboys going like, "No, this was so much more entertaining." And just like a mix of people who are like, "I hated that. That was awful. Why? Where are my specs? Where are my bento boxes? Who what?" Then people going like, "You guys broke NDA." I'm like, "No, we didn't actually. It just was set for an hour before the thing."
Well, and that's sort of the secret
Yeah.
here, right? Like Google, we're not complaining that Google like didn't like left us out,
Yeah,
right?
no, they didn't
actually
leave us
right.
out.
No, we were briefed, we got hands-ons, and we were able to run that stuff before this event. I think that sort of is the secret here, right? They can talk to media with one hand and then talk to the
Exactly.
audience with the other. And I think they're sort of redefining the keynote. It's like, we're here to talk to the media. Why do we need to do this thing? And it's weird because those things were also for fans, and
Yeah.
now it's like it's not quite the fans. It's not like I don't think it was for the fans.
No, I don't think it was for the fans. It was for someone else. Whether they know who that
Yeah,
someone else is,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, because I felt like there was a little bit of mixed messaging throughout. A lot of like, "Come on over, leave the iPhone" messaging. And they're like, I forget who exactly said it, but they're like, "We're done with the green bubble conversation." I'm like, well, I'm glad you guys are done with it. The people in the real world are not
Does
done
not
with
sound
that
like they're done with that conversation.
But yeah, it was wild.
So lots of stuff announced. Obviously, the headliners were the phones. Allison, there were 4 of them. Can you give us the highlights here?
4 phones. We've got the regular Pixel 10, still $799. That's great. Pixel 10 Pro, $999. Pixel 10 Pro XL. God, there's so many. That one technically not more expensive, but there is no longer a 128 gigabyte option, so it's $11.99. And then of course the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, $17.99. Expensive phone. The kind of higher level, they look exactly the friggin' same as last year's phones. Like, to just get that out of the way. You can't tell the difference unless you work at Google. But on the inside, they all have Tensor G5, which is a moderately big deal. First chip that is made by TSMC and not Samsung. So there's a lot of interest in like how that's going to shake out. And they have Qi 2. Our national nightmare is over. We finally have proper
The magnets
Qi 2.
are here.
Yes, the magnets, the charging seat, everything is built into the phone. You don't need a case. So I think those are, and without getting into AI, which we will, those are the high level, like, here's why these are new phones.
So, okay, this is really interesting. The Pro models feel like they are basically the same phones, right? Slightly brighter display, slightly bigger battery, new chip, right? But they look the same. It's the 10 and the Fold that have the biggest differences. And both of them are like really interesting ones. So the 10 is maybe where I want to start, right? The Pixel 10 is getting a third camera for the first time. It's getting a telephoto. But they're downgrading both of the other cameras in the process, which I think is such a fascinating trade-off because the differentiation between the lines, I guess, I don't know where it is now. Like if you look at them, they look identical.
Yeah.
But if you care a lot, there's a pretty big difference.
Yeah. I think it just says a lot about where Google thinks it can get away with enhancing stuff in software and where you just need the hardware. So, yeah, typically the regular Pixel phone just has the ultra wide in the main camera. Part of the kind of sales pitch was you get the same like big sensor, nice lens as the Pro phones, which was cool. But yeah, they added that 5 times telephoto camera, which is the same one as on the Pixel Fold, not the same one that's on the Pro phone. It's like, what does a Pro phone mean is completely like confusing this time around. But yeah, they did kind of like downgrade the hardware on the main Pixel, on the main camera and the ultra wide, because I think they're just like, we'll just software it.
Which like I think it's the same cameras as on the 9A, which admittedly like they're not bad cameras. They're good cameras.
Yeah, they're fine. And Google gave me some kind of fluffy answer about how magical and special the camera hardware is, even though it is probably just the same as on the 9A. Yeah, it just, if you look across the series just at camera specs, it gets more confusing because you've got the most expensive model, the Fold, $1,800. You get kind of worse cameras. And then there's the Pro models, the slab phones. Those get you the best cameras. And then you kind of take another step back on the regular models. It's a little confusing, I think.
I've turned into that GIF of the lady who's just really confused as math symbols float around her head. That's just
Yeah.
me right now.
That is
Like-
Google trying to justify, like, what is a Pro phone? The only reasonable explanation last time around was it had a telephoto lens, because that's what all 3 had. That doesn't exist anymore. I'm accepting any answers that make sense.
Right. So now the Pixel 10 has more differentiation from the 9A.
Mhm.
Or probably the eventual 10A, because there's 3 cameras instead of 2. But it is true, if you're just like, if you're in the store and you're like, should I buy a Pixel 10 or a Pixel 10 Pro? Like they look identical, which like, I don't know. I get, is this to compete with the baseline iPhone, which doesn't have that third lens? I don't know.
I know. I think Google loves being like, look what we do that the iPhone doesn't. Like Samsung has the telephoto on its regular. So maybe it's more trying to offer some parity there. I don't know. Like I like a dedicated telephoto, so I think it's a good change. Gonna try it out.
Yeah, it's a really interesting trade-off. So that's on the low end. And then the high end, the Fold, maybe like the single most exciting upgrade.
Yeah. They made a fully dust resistant foldable. It is IP68 rated. As we heard Jimmy Fallon excitedly
I don't
proclaim.
The IP numbers.
I
They're-
believe that he plagiarized you
He was
beforehand.
like, they did
That's my
it.
conspiracy theory.
He
That's my
learned-
conspiracy theory.
He learned about dust resistance on foldables about 10 minutes before he went and did that. But it's a big deal. So Samsung has kind of gone into like, we're making a foldable really thin with its last fold phone, which was cool. Still not quite dust resistant, had an IP48 rating, which means you can't poke it with a little needle or something. The 68 means full dust, sand, bring it to the beach. It's going to be okay, probably, with all the usual disclaimers of IP ratings. And once they leave the factory, they degrade over time, like blah, blah, blah. That's true of all IP ratings on devices. But it's a new hinge. It's a gearless hinge. I think Google's like kind of, they could be playing it up a little more. Maybe I'm just super invested in this, but I'm like, I want to hear more about.
No, but
what
you're
made
right.
this
Like
possible.
there's like 2 directions they can go here, and one is the Samsung route where they go thinner, thinner, thinner. And like,
Mhm.
don't get me wrong,
That was a nice, thin, foldy phone.
it was a very impressive.
It was very impressive.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And you look at that and you go, if everybody else is bigger than this, like they lost. And then I look at the Pixel Fold and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a little chunkier, but it like promising that level of security on a device that expensive, that is seemingly pretty fragile, like that's actually a pretty smart area to run at instead of racing to be as thin as you can go before you get there.
I still think that the best way to sell these phones is to find the tech journalist in the event
Yes.
who is blogging from their Pixel Fold. And I ended up sitting next to Sam from Engadget, who was doing that with the Pixel Fold, like the older one. And I was just like, oh my God, last time it was Allison. This time it's Sam. Oh my God. Do I need one? Because I was having trouble with the Wi-Fi again because it's a tin can in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. A deja vu, and I was like, "Oh my God, they're having no problem with these foldy phones." They don't need these keynote events. They just need to find the one tech journalist in the thing while everyone else is suffering, going like, "Oh my God, can you get Wi-Fi in here?" And the one journalist with the Pixel Fold or the Samsung Fold just blogging away, super fine, having no issues. And I was just like, damn, do I need a foldy phone? This is the only 2 times that I've wanted a foldy phone.
There's also the only 2 use cases I've ever heard for foldable. Like, don't get me wrong, I am obsessed with them. I want one. I have no idea what I would do with it. And you're like, you can blog the heck out of anything you want.
You can blog the heck.
You know what? That is our job.
That is WordPress. Like a dream.
Is like AI have seen these things handle many a finicky CMS. So I'm just saying, they're great for journalists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy Fallon.
So we talked a bunch about the cameras already, but there's a lot more to talk about with these cameras because the zoom gets a little
so freaky,
interesting. Gets a little interesting.
So we need like a sound the alarm, like break glass in case of emergency. Like, so they put AI in the camera is the short version. This is only
We need to pipe in Nilay screaming. Like, do we not have like a
phone?
soundboard for this?
I can kind of hear it in my own head. Yeah. So this is only on the Pro in the Pro XL, and it's only in this feature called ProRes Zoom, which is a kind of digital zoom. It's when you get past 30x all the way up to 100. So typically like garbage territory of like, you're not getting a good photo from that. There's just not enough information for any kind of processing to do anything with it. So Google was like, what if we put generative AI in here and had it try to figure out what you're taking a picture of? And so that happens on device. It's right in the camera. It you can see it running after you take the photo, and it does retain like the original photo you took. So you do know something is happening. Does not work on people. So like, thank God.
The demo was really wild. Like,
it's
because
good.
we were at the demo, and like we were at Google's office, and they took us out on the balcony, and they're like, "Do you see that White House across the river?" Boop. Took a picture, and they were like, "Allison, would you like to take a picture of the museum over there that's like really far away?" Whoop, took a picture. V, do you want to try that water tower? Took a picture. The thing they don't tell you is that you like really need a steady hand, because
it's hard. Yeah,
it's really hard. It like if you move a millimeter, well, you're not in focus anymore, and you just have to like. You really need a steady hand.
Right, because you're at 100x controlling this like super tiny.
It's there's like a little picture-in-picture window so that you can just like tap to refocus on the place that you want to take a picture of. It was weird.
So I last night I watched like every YouTube video of this that I could find, and it was blowing my mind. Right, because there was I think it was Petapixel had one where they were zoomed in like past 50x on this like boat way out in the harbor, and they show the original. And it's like fine, just like grainy and ugly. And then boom, there's the AI version. And if you had not told me AI was involved, I would have been like, oh, okay, just some nice camera processing. Like I was doing a spot the difference between them. I'm like, where did it invent something? Where did it screw up? And I could not find it. Yeah. And okay, look, obviously this is early. There's one image I saw, but it just looked like a cleaner, crisper version of what you're actually seeing. Like it looks like it is really just fixing it, cleaning it up. It's wild.
Yeah, I totally agree. I talked to Isaac Reynolds, who heads up the Pixel camera team, and I was like, okay, what are you doing here? AI in the camera, what is a photo? Like, put him through the gauntlet of questions, and he was really like, this is an algorithm like we've in a similar way we've used in the past. It's just really good at like getting rid of the artifacts that you would see from the upsampling and the image processing pipeline. And that his claim is that it's not going to do anything you wouldn't expect from a camera, because that's where I'm like, what is it going to invent stuff? Is it going to put different things that weren't there, like Loch Ness Monster out there?
There was like a weird, because there were instances where we're getting pictures of people versus like the things, and the buildings or the architecture or whatnot would be kind of unnaturally clear for something taken that far, and then the people would just be blobs. And I get why they're not doing the people. That's like very important that they're not doing the people, but that was the one thing that I was like, this is a blob.
Yeah.
So there'll be a blob within your CRISPR, everything else. Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
Right. I guess because that would be creepy at a minimum.
Yeah.
Like if you're at like
Yeah.
100x. Okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Creepy
yeah.
at a minimum, dangerous
Yeah.
in a different context.
This is wild. It's I'm curious where it goes from here, and if it is like limited to this zoom function, because this like got my mind racing on whether I'm like, okay, is like the future of the Pixel camera just everything it gets like diffusioned, and they use this to, right? Like, why not enhance details elsewhere, right? They know what they know what a proper DSLR photo is supposed to look like. Forget portrait mode. Why don't they just like, can they just diffusion it?
I mean, there were so many camera features that, like, when Alice and I were getting the demos, I was just like, in my head, like, you're smiling to be polite in person, and in your head, I'm going like, E-T-S-E-Ray, everything is what is a photo. Oh no.
Okay,
Oh
well,
God. Oh no. Oh ah. Like that was in my head happening at the time. It's very impressive, but at the same time, if you are contemplating what is a photo, there's just a lot of screaming that's going on.
Yeah.
and in fact, actually, now that I say it, there are other parts of the camera where it is inventing photos. So there's this new camera coach thing, and it invents photos and tells you to go take them, right? Like this is. Did you get to demo this?
Yes.
We did. And you kind of get into the camera coach mode, so it's separate. And then I believe you take a photo and it invents some like potential photos you could take. Like
That
would
be better. So it's negging your natural photo taking ability too. It's just
right. But and importantly, you pick one and then it takes you through the steps. It's like, okay, well now get down lower or compose it this way. And you end up with your photo and the AI one gets thrown away. But it is like you're seeing that little glimmer of like, okay, what's coming next if this is what you're doing right now?
Right. That's so interesting. It's like I have to go take it, but like actually you already made it. Like it's already here. Like, did I need to take it? I mean, I would prefer to take it. I will say, like, the camera coach thing seems like one of those very impressive, like, AI is crazy. Look at all these things it can do. It can analyze the scene live and then teach you how to like take it. I don't know who's going to use it or why I'm going to use it.
They told us it was for like people who are intimidated by photography or who take like really crappy pictures but want like that Instagram worthy like cool looking picture and learning about composition and lighting and how to do that stuff. But it's also like
they should have thrown a gnarly flash on the back of this thing and forced it to be on at all times if they wanted to appeal to like nobody's trying to take Instagram photos anymore. This isn't happening.
That's why it's a coach, right? Because they were like, this is for beginners. It's not for people who already know how to do the photography stuff. And I was the model for Allison's demo, and boy, did I get a quad workout because it kept telling me to like do a dynamic pose or whatnot, or like Allison through the thing was telling me to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you be dynamic?
Yeah, my legs were hurting. So thanks, AI.
Okay, last thing in the about the cameras. Last big thing is it is building in credentials, saying it's tagging them as AI,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When you do these, I guess not the camera coach, but if you're doing the zoom, if you're doing the crazy zoom thing, it's going to tell you in the metadata this is AI, right?
And
Oh,
more importantly, like
yeah.
I talked to Isaac, and it's tagging every photo you take with the camera, not just the AI ones. If there's no AI used, it just says something like taken with a camera. It'll say something like if you
Why
take a
does that have to be established?
Well,
What's
here's
the
thing.
alternative?
Because
what is a photo?
we
What?
live in a
What?
dystopian future where
No.
yeah, it's
There's
like
no such thing as a photo that is not taken by a camera, right? Is there something I'm missing here?
So okay, so the rationale for this is if you only tag the things that are AI, then it gives the appearance that the untagged thing is real, which may not be the
Oh.
case.
Okay.
We just don't know if it's AI or not. So this is a little bit of like Google's going to set the good example, and hopefully Instagram will have all kinds of tags about this was taken with the camera, and we'll see how that pans out. But I appreciate that they're doing it, and I get it. It's weird.
Sometimes this what is a photo question is like impossible to answer. And other times I'm like, yeah, it's a camera. It's like, was there a camera? Like, yes.
Yeah.
That if it wasn't taken with a camera, I feel very confident. It feels like unimpeachably not a photo. If vergecast@theverge.com, email me if you can figure out what a photo is that's not taken by a camera.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a picture.
It is.
But we wouldn't call it a photo.
We just wouldn't call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a photorealistic painting that it's not.
It's a picture.
It's
picture versus
picture
a photo is going to be okay.
Yeah, this is
It's a robot's memory of a tree that it saw
I'm just
one
saying
time.
we should do a what is a photo package and just have everyone on staff contribute and lose our minds collectively and just let that live online.
That's the end state of The Verge.
Yeah.
Because all of us become hermits afterward.
We'll just have to. We'll be released.
We'll just, we'll do
Done.
this one last what is a photo package, and then all of our souls will be released to Valhalla and we'll retire.
Exactly.
The other thing we have to talk about here is Magic Q, which is like maybe the flagship feature from the AI standpoint, at least as Google is pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
Allison, like, is this thing actually going to be helpful? Like, this is their attempt to make AI actually maybe potentially useful.
Yeah, and it's the demos we saw were really interesting, but they were on Rails. So just to explain, this is sort of a contextual, always there AI that can kind of prompt and autofill things that might be relevant. So I think demo everybody saw was a friend texts you like, hey, do you have the details about our dinner reservation tonight? And Magic Q will kind of take that and go to your Gmail and come back with the relevant details in theory, that it's like the name of the restaurant, and it'll kind of present that as a thing you can just potentially like paste into the conversation. So there's a little bit, I think it was described to us as ephemeral.
That was like concerning. They're like, we're not storing all of your data forever. We know all of it. We just might not hang on to. This is the dream, right? Like this sort of gets at what Apple was trying to promise with Siri, where it's like, it knows everything, it sees everything, it surfaces it for you at the right time. It's not entirely clear. Like, I love the pitch of this, right? Like, those are the things that are super annoying to like juggle and look up. Can it actually pull that stuff up? Can it do this in every app? Is it just like these select googly moments?
No,
it is a handful of like Google apps, like Gmail, Calendar, Messages. It is in Gboard, so it can kind of work a little bit outside of just those core apps where If you were looking at something in Chrome and it senses you went to a shopping app, it's like you open up Amazon. Yeah, that's the example we got. It can suggest text in Gboard that you might want to paste in. It is all happening on device, which is good from the scary privacy perspective. And it incorporates some of your very recent activities. So like in that example of something you were looking at, and sort of feeds that into what you might see as suggested activities, but it's not saving those for super long. We didn't get exacts on any of that, but just enough to feel like maybe this isn't too scary.
It's cool if it works, but the question is like, is it going to get the right reservation? What if you're someone who's like a social butterfly and you're meeting some of the same people in the same group chats, but in different group configurations? Like, can it handle that?
Yeah.
It's interesting too, because Google sort of already like has pieces of this individually within apps, right? Where it's like, there's stuff with this that you can just hard code. Gmail already surfaces your flights at the right time. It started doing this thing that honestly I find very annoying, but it's like, it'll be like, hey, you've got a package coming, and we're going to put the package thing up so you know that your package is coming today. Right. So it's like already reading your emails. It's figuring out when you need them and surfacing them at the right moments. It's like being able to do that, take it to another app, read what's happening in the app, give it to you at that time. Like that's a lot of juggling to do. And it's like, okay, flights, got it. That's a good use case. This feels like a thing that they've probably programmed a few specific things for, and maybe it expands over time. Like I think the idea is fascinating, and it's just not clear to me if they can actually execute this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, one, to try it out and see if it actually works outside of these demos, and two, like it sort of gets at that thing of are they just going to circumvent us going into apps? Are app developers going to love that? Like,
in the engagement economy, that's going to be interesting.
Presumably app developers can just be like, no, we're not going to open this up to Magic Queue, if that ever became an option. But yeah, I sort of wonder what the limits are on something like this. But it's got to work first. So
I'm really curious. They also have this like daily hub thing that like pops up with like a bunch, like, here's all the stuff for you to do today. And I'm super interested in what this is actually capable of, because it's like, here's all the stuff on your calendar today. And I'm like, oh, okay, that would actually be really interesting for me, because I use Google Calendar a little bit at work, but most of my life is in TickTick, the to-do app. And if it can't access TickTick, then it's actually just like useless to me.
Yeah. And this is kind of a version of something Samsung has. They call it like the Now Brief. That I have found to be just completely useless, honestly.
Honestly, the funny thing is that it feels like they sort of also took this from Smartwatch features, which are morning report. And like, you wake up on your smartwatch first thing in the morning and it tells you the weather, it tells you what workout you're having next, and it tells you everything on your calendar. So
I like that, honestly.
Like, I honestly don't think it belongs on your phone. I think it belongs on something like that. That's I'm biased, but that's my take on that.
We'll see.
I want to make sure we talk about one more important thing on the phones, which is that there's some magnets.
There are magnets.
Oh, yeah.
We touched on this a little bit. But Chi2 is real. It's happened. It's the only other phone was the HMD Skyline, which is more of a punchline than an actual product. This is great, right? Like, it is exactly MagSafe. Now it's on Pixels. They built it into the actual phones, a bunch of accessories. Like, is there more to this? It's just good. It's like they did it. It works.
I think so.
They said it in the show. They said
Jimmy
you
Fallon
can use
is
MagSafe
stoked.
and Apple stuff. And Jimmy Fallon was like, can we say the A word? So that's why he said that. So yeah.
I will say, like, this is there's a lot of stuff I will criticize Apple for, like, keeping locked down, and I marvel at the fact that they opened up MagSafe to the Qi ecosystem. And this seems right now it mostly seems good for Android.
Yeah.
Like, I assume this helps all their partners who make all these accessories because they're going to sell a whole lot more of them.
And there's so much money.
Yeah.
And I think they're just like, they weighed the pros and cons because in my mind, Apple just has like a bunch of supply chain people and like those math nerds who are like, the pros and the cons of how much money gets into our pocket by making it open versus closed. And they just did the beep, boop, boop, bop math. And they were like, oh, we get so much more money for like opening it up. Let the Pixel have the MagSafe or whatnot. That's just like how I think it went.
Meanwhile, green bubbles, they're like, seems like all downside.
Yeah, that one's still not happening. All right. We got to take a break. When we're back, we're going to talk all about the wearables.
Support for this show comes from Kantar. These days, media channels are overflowing with content, and grabbing your audience's attention is harder than ever. If you want your campaign to stand out, you need more than just a great idea. You need insights that help you make a lasting impression. That's where Kantar comes in. Kantar is built for pioneers, brands that want to push the boundaries of advertising. They help companies like yours to shape bold ideas into breakthrough campaigns, all while staying grounded in consumer reality. Their early-stage insights are backed by rich consumer data and powered by AI analysis, helping your team develop ads that truly resonate. That means your campaign has the best chance to land from the very beginning. In short, Kantar wants to help you bring the most promising ad ideas to life, so you can make a lasting impact and feel confident that your next marketing push will hit the mark. Explore new creative frontiers with Kantar. Listeners of this show can visit try.kantar.com/Verge to learn more about what they can do for your brand. That's try.kantar.com/Verge. try.kantar.com/Verge.
All right, we're back. And we've got a load more stuff to talk about from this Pixel event. Now, V, we're over into your wheelhouse.
You're in my house now, guys.
They had, I would say, I was not expecting this to be a particularly exciting year for the Pixel Watch.
I was just like, I wonder what they're going to do this year, because the first 2 years they were like, we finally did it, guys. We did a Pixel Watch, and everyone's like, yeah, it'll be in a Google graveyard next year. And then Pixel Watch 2 came out, and they're like, we did it, guys. We're catching up. We fixed all the stuff that was bad about the first one because it was a first-gen device. And then the third one came out, and I was like, we're done catching up, guys. We're here now. We have arrived. Third time's the charm. And so I was like, oh, yeah. So, like, what are you going to do next year for the fourth? And then they were like, how about we blow your mind with AI? And that's
Which
what they did.
is honestly what no man wants to hear.
No one wants to hear
Yeah.
that. But it was actually like a substantive update. When I was writing my hands on, I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ, I forgot about this feature. Oh, Jesus Christ, I forgot about that feature. Oh, I have to do 2 separate hands-ons because there's also an AI coach that's coming, and that deserves its own 1,200 words of talking about. So it was a lot.
Right. So, okay. So there's like a mix of things going on here. There's a bunch of like small but meaningful hardware updates, right? It's the screen is 50% brighter. So,
There's a domed display. So, the glass is domed because they have this little, what they call a rain droplet design. It looks like a little bead of water on your wrist, and that's their design ethos. So that display the glass is domed, but now the actual display underneath is also domed. And that enables a couple of different things. It's 50% brighter, 3,000 nits, and then it's the bezels are 15% thinner than the last generation, and the active display area is 10% larger. So, like, just by making it domed, they did all of that stuff.
like that sounds very silly, but it's actually like a very meaningful.
It is. And then like I got the chance to look at like the Pixel 2, 3, and 4 side by side with the flashlight on so that I could see like the difference between both the brightness and the bezels. And I'm like, if you look at the progression of it, it's quite impressive. So that was just like, oh, nice hardware, guys.
Yeah.
Good
so
job.
some like meaningful hardware improvements. Also like dual frequency GPS, if you like satellite SOS. What we can talk about the repairability a little bit more later, but it's more repairable than any other watch. And then there's the AI. The AI is all the other stuff, right?
There's just like so much on there. There's like like the Samsung watches, the Gemini is now on the wrist. But also like you have smarter contextual replies so that, So one of the things about smart replies on the smartwatch is like someone texts you and you can just go boop and quick reply back. And usually they're pretty canned responses, right? They're like, yes, no, on my way. And like when I was talking to the Pixel Watch team, they're like, most of the time people only use it about 30% of the time for conversations. It's not that helpful. So now that there's like an on-device LLM model on there, it will give contextual replies based on what was texted back. It was like, oh, so if someone texts you about a game, it could be like, yay, I'm really happy we won. And like that's the response that you get to send back. And it's not limited to the default messages app. So if you use a different one like WhatsApp, if you use I don't know about Signal because there's privacy stuff there, but like Kakao Talk, which all my Koreans know, that is the text messaging app of choice for Korea and Korean Americans. And, you'll be able to have those contextual replies from that. And so that's like one of the many ways that AI can be used on the wrist. And as I've written before, though, using AI on the wrist is just a little weird.
It's like on one hand, for a smartwatch, I think those contextual replies could legitimately be like pretty useful.
Yeah.
Because you do not want to be typing. But Allison, you just spent a week using your watch as your main device, and you did a bunch of typing on it, and I think it was okay.
Yeah, and maybe it's a little bit of pride for me because I'm like, I'm not using those canned responses or, even if they are like pretty close to what I want to say, that, I'm like, this is my profession. Robot, don't come for me. But yeah, I could see how it's just when you're initiating the conversation, I'm like texting my husband on my way home. I don't know how AI knows that I want to do that, but I can see it being useful. And maybe I'll just like get over my hang up with auto reply stuff.
I've gotten really into voice to text on text messaging. I'm like, I don't feel like typing. Like if this is anywhere, so I'm not doing a full voice memo. No, I'm straight up voice to texting. Maybe I should, because it seems like an insane person because I will send like 3 paragraphs of text like to somebody just because I'm like, I've just been talking for like 2 minutes straight. I don't want to type.
I'm saying try voice memos next. Like Mia turned me on to voice memos, and now sometimes I'm like, I ain't typing this shit. I just send like a 2-minute message.
If I got a voice memo from somebody, I would feel like that was a threat. I would be like, what did I do?
I'm like, I gotta put in earbuds now to no.
Like, usually there's like there's usually a transcript too in case you can't like actually play it. But I don't know. I had those thoughts, and now I'm on that. Now I'm on the voice memo train. But also with this new Gemini on the wrist thing, you can raise to talk. And
I'm into
talk to the thing. But it was interesting because, I think a lot of the people I were talking to were saying like, oh, God, another gesture that you have to do unnaturally, like whoosh, whoopah. And actually, it's a lot more subtle. Like if you do that, it won't actually bring up Gemini.
Just like raise your wrist up to your...
Like if you do it too, like if you're like a Power Ranger when you're doing the move you're trying to talk into your wrist communicator, it's not going to do it. So you have to do it like just like naturally, and it'll do it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That, because there's a lot of movement that happens with hands, especially if you're like me and you're just doing hand gestures all the time. So having to find out when people are actually wanting to talk to Gemini was a lot of work that they put into it that I was surprised to find was actually like, oh, I don't have to do a crazy exaggerated moment because I'm so used to, after 10 years of testing wearables, doing things like flick, pinch, and like moving like I'm a Power Ranger because of how wonky these gestures have been over time. And that one was just one where it was actually quite fluid. And I was like, oh, that's surprisingly good.
So the other big thing here, and I couldn't quite figure this out, there's this Fitbit AI health coach, which is the other big part of this announcement. And I guess I'm curious, like, is that a Pixel Watch feature, or is that just like these two teams are... Okay, so this is all Fitbits.
And Pixel Watches. So it's not gatekept to the Pixel Watch 4. It is all Pixel Watches and all Fitbits will get this Fitbit AI coach when it rolls out in October, though you have to be a Fitbit premium member. In order to, they are gatekeeping it because, well, AI is expensive to run. And this health coach is, so my caveat is that I've tested a lot of AI health coaches and a lot of AI health and fitness features. I have yet to like a single one. And I walked into this demo being like, this better be good, buddy. Like, this better be some like, here we go again, friend. And I walked out like cautiously, I won't say optimistic, but curious about it. Like, it felt very thoughtful. The Fitbit app is going to get it's going to get blown up completely and completely redesigned. There's a dark mode coming for all the Fitbit people who've been wanting it for a long time. But generally speaking, this AI coach is going to be built into every single nook, cranny, and corner of the Fitbit app. And you're going to be able to talk to it to give like insights. And, I asked Sandeep and Sandeep Warak, Andy Abramson, and Rishi Chandra. Like this was like a table of very like skeptical journalists grilling these dudes. Just like, I went out and I said, these have been Captain Obvious level summaries, just saying like, you did a workout. Thanks. Like, I can see that in my metrics. So like, how are you going to be different about it? And the answers I got were pretty thoughtful, like just, it is going to reference your weekly patterns versus your daily patterns. But you can ask it about your long-term patterns. Because one of the things was I asked Aura, like, hey, what's my average hours of sleep for this year? And it would be like, girl, we can't do more than a month. And I was like, you're useless.
That's not helpful.
That's not helpful. Why do I have 5 years of Aura data if you can only do a month's worth? And they're like, no, you'll be able to do that with this. It is chatty. I saw the chat logs.
I thought this was so
long.
interesting.
Yeah.
And you asked them about this. You're like, bro, why isn't this shorter? And they were like, we tested it and people didn't like it.
Yeah. They're like, well, we tested it to be shorter. But if you have an LLM do it in 3 sentences, you don't get anything useful from that because it's just summarizing it so that it's so generalized as to be useless. And I was like, interesting. So they are right now going for like pretty in-depth, like really long things. And then the idea is for it to be conversational and adjust. So like I've had problems where I get injured or it's really hot outside and I have a tendency to be a type A overachiever and push through the pain, which is not good for you when you're exercising. I've gotten injured a lot over the last few years doing that. And so now you can go talk to this AI and be like, hey, I tweaked my knee. I can't really do this exercise program that you've done for me. And I'll be like, okay, cool, let's adjust it. And it'll adjust it for you, which is sort of like the first time that we're actually seeing moving from just a static summary to going like, cool information. Thanks for giving it to me. Let me adjust that for you. And I'll check in with you a week later to see if you're ready to get back to your regular routine, which is like, that's what we've been asking for, kind of.
Right. It feels like everything else has just been, we're not going to change the existing app. We're not going to add any new features. But like, hey, here's some AI. Like it will just summarize what we can already tell you.
Yeah, it's like bolted on.
And this feels like they're taking, or at least they're trying to take the maximalist approach, which is like, we're going to plug all of your data in and we're going to give you an essay back.
Yes.
And whether it works, that's an open question.
We're going to see.
But that is like the step that needs to happen, right? If you want actually good results from the AI, if you want the AI to actually be useful, it needs to have all your data.
And that's the kind of part that I'm somewhat like, about?
You know.
Because you got to hoover in a lot
about
of
handing
data.
over your health data?
A lot of your health data. And the thing that they've pointed out to me is that when Google acquired Fitbit, regulatorily, for that sale to go through, they had to agree to the EU to keep all of the Fitbit data siloed out of the Google data because it was health data. So they are actually obligated to keep those data silos separate. Doesn't mean people trust it. Doesn't mean you should trust it if you're like a maximalist about data privacy security. But it is like a lot of data that they're going to be asking for. And they're starting out with fitness and sleep. They have ambitions for it to be everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask if you think there's like a play with the journal app that we saw on the phones. But if there's like no crossover, I know you have some feelings about the journal app.
I don't think AI should be in journals. I don't. They don't keep the AI out of journals. The journaling is not complicated and it's not supposed to be easy. Keep the AI out of the journals.
We didn't touch on this up top, but for some confusing reason, one of the new Pixel features is a journal app.
Yes.
It's a journal app with AI prompts.
Yeah, so you'll write journal entries in this AI app, and it'll prompt you based on what you've written before for new prompts. So it's just like, hey, why don't you write about your feelings for a test that's coming up next week? And then, you'll write and you can read summaries of the entries that you've written. And there's a little calendar and it puts little emoji summarizing your emotions.
You get like
based
a
on what you've
score.
written.
Yeah, it's like a smiley face or just kind of like, you didn't have a smiley face day.
I feel like you shouldn't be able to lose at journaling. That feels like it is antithetical to
It's supposed to
There's
log
kind
your
of
mood.
streaks too.
Yeah, it's. I saw that and I was just like, I think you should have a hard time with a blank page because that is the point of journaling. But yeah, no, I'm with you, Allison, on that conspiracy theory about linking those two things because they do have ambitions beyond just fitness and sleep.
Yeah.
Those are just the natural, easy on-ramps for this kind of AI health coach feature. But they do want to get into nutrition. They do want to get into overall health advising. And I was just like, let's run it up on the line of medical tech and wellness, a line that I've written about and is getting increasingly blurrier to my internal fear and horror. So there's a lot there that I'm just like,
It's all colliding.
Sums it all up, yeah.
It is, but to the greater point, the big issue with wearables is that it generates this boatload of data. And the average person is just like, okay, cool. I don't know what to do with this mountain of metrics that you've given me. And so the problem they're trying to solve here is giving you useful, actionable context if you're trying to lose some weight, get healthier, be able to run a marathon, just whatever your goals are, just having, the phrasing and the framing they use is Steph Curry, who is actually partnering on this thing and giving feedback, and his team is going yeah, you should do this, not so they're actually partnering on this particular feature together. But Steph Curry has a whole team of people helping him parse his athletic and health data. What if we democratize that with AI for you?
I mean, listen, I would love if Steph Curry's people gave me some notes. That would be great. I feel like we're not getting notes at that level from the Fitbit app.
At least not at first. That's their goal. Whether they can get there is a totally different story, but that is their kind of roadmap for that particular feature. And to be fair, it's one that's Garmin's pursuing. Apple has Workout Buddy, which is nowhere near this level of ambition because where's the new improved Siri? You kind of need that for that to happen. But I do think they're thinking about that as well. I think all of these companies are thinking down this route. This is just the most ambitious and I think thoughtful implementation that I've seen as to something that actually tells you something and isn't just a stapled on summary regurgitated book report.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And I think between the Fitbit changes that are coming in October, between that and the Pixel Watch 4 updates, there's a pretty opinionated series of products here. And I think the last piece of this that we saw is some of the hardware changes. And the one we didn't talk about yet is the repairability coming to the watch, which is sort of a total surprise curveball here.
Yes, because The Verge has done some real stress testing. We are apparently famous within that product team for destroying 2 screens of the first 2 Pixel Watches, both unintentionally. We don't know how it happened.
Listen, it's not on us.
We didn't know.
I don't think,
I've had some
those
people
things
go,
broke.
I've had some people in my Pixel 2 watch review, there's no way you don't know how this happened. I am telling you on the record right now, I cooperated with every step of Google's investigation into how it happened, and we were all baffled. Just completely baffled. I was I don't know.
It sounds like agents swarmed your house.
Yeah, it sounds like they arrested you.
Oh, no, they came in person, and they're we're going to take this and do some tests on it. And I was just
Pass
please.
the polygraph.
I was
still here.
Please tell me. There's conspiracy theories that my cat did it. He was a baby.
Cats,
I don't think he could have done
no.
it. He
Listen.
didn't have teethers yet. So, so apparently we are famous for having done that in some capacity. But what I was told is that they really want these devices to last a long time. So they want it to last a long time for people to have, and making it repairable was just one part of that. If you take the straps off and you look into the little lugs area, there's little screws. And you can unscrew it. And if you take it off, it actually kind of, what they said is the insides have been redesigned to kind of look like a bento box. So
It all comes
it
full
all
circle.
comes back full
Cute.
circle.
All right.
They
I
took
love
the
that.
bento box from the event and they put it in the
Put
Pixel
it-
Watch.
Put it in a watch.
You open it up. There's a little update sheet inside it. It
Yeah.
tells you what features it has.
Yeah,
I
so
love
the idea is that the display and the battery will be repairable and replaceable. So,
Which is really impressive for a watch.
especially one where people were just like breaking the screens left and right. That was one of the
When you say people,
Other
pretty,
than
pretty,
us.
pretty specifically.
us, but also other. We
But,
didn't do
no.
it with the Pixel Watch 3,
Yeah.
and knock on wood, we're not going to do it with our Pixel
mean,
Watch.
Try us.
Oh, well,
Can
yeah.
Can I say my favorite watch feature this year
Yes.
is the new charger, the new proprietary charger, which I know you're all annoyed by. The watch goes on it like it's sleeping on a pillow. It looks
Yeah.
like it's like it charges on its side, and it just looks like it's sleepy and it's taking a little rest. And
Once
then-
you said that, and I put it in all my hands on, and I'm pretty sure I credited you in at least most of my
Thank
mentions
you.
of it across the thing. But I was just like, when she said it, I couldn't unsee it. And I was like, that's so cute.
It's just
so
a
easy.
tired little gadget.
I'm so tired.
I'm
Oh.
sorry you need
Sleepy.
like another watch charger.
That is really annoying. This is the third proprietary charger in 4 watches. So that's not ideal from an e-waste
It's
perspective.
kind of impressive.
It's
Yeah.
it's just like, guys, come on. But I actually like it.
No, that makes sense though too, especially if like you're putting that beside your bed at night. Now you got a look lock. It's all right. There's something there. I
Yeah.
see it. On the topic of repairability, that was the only repairable gadget they announced. The other new piece of hardware, I think the final new piece of hardware, Pixel Buds 2a,
Yes.
which what's repairable here? You replace the battery on that.
Yeah, so there's the case and there's the little insert inside the case. You can pop that out and replace the battery.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the battery in the case, not in the buds, which would be kind of
Yeah,
intense.
that's
Yeah.
So it's the case battery that you can just pop it out, replace it. That's pretty cool. They added. So here's another thing. There's like a big thesis with all of these devices, and the thesis is Gemini and AI, basically, because these budget buds got the tensor chip. And why would they have a tensor
Dang.
chip?
Why not?
Future AI, baby. Like that's just like you can just see that they're going like, we're gonna need everything to have AI in it.
Sometimes I think people are genuinely like, we're doing this because we think it's going to be cool. We think people are going to like it. And sometimes I think people are like, my boss really wants us to say AI.
Yeah.
And that's what that feels like. I feel like someone's like, they're gonna love it. They're gonna like, I'm gonna get a promotion if I put Gemini like on this box 5 times. And like, what? Like you could already talk to Google on these. Like, what do I need these Pixel Buds 2a to Gemini for me?
I think they're just kind of future proofing for down the road for whenever it is that they have like AI based sound audio features,
Yeah.
like I mean, it's interesting because the original A series buds were like $99. They were the kind of cheaper version. Now they're $130, so they're $30 more expensive. But they also have ANC and transparency mode, which they didn't have before.
Right. Noise
So-
cancellation is actually like a pretty meaningful upgrade here.
Yeah, that's a
There-
pretty meaningful.
It's actually not. I was looking at the comparison page between the Pixel Buds 2a and the Pixel Buds 2 Pro, and it's like it feels sort of like Google is like searching for places to make the 2 Pro different. That like the difference in the noise cancellation is that they're like the Pixel Buds 2 Pro has active noise cancellation with Live Seal 2.0, and the Pixel Buds 2a is active noise cancellation with Live Seal 1.5. And I'm like, what is Live Seal? I don't know if I have the
I
name right,
don't.
but it's like you're searching here. You're searching for like, which is great. It's great if the Pixel Buds 2a are like getting closer to pro level of features. It does not have wireless charging in the case.
no,
which
that was annoying.
that's
I was
a
like,
rough one.
that's-
Yeah, once you're living that wireless charging lifestyle, it's hard to go back.
It is, but it's funny because when Allison and I went to this content capture before the event, if you looked at the displays, it was like phones, watches, and in the corner right over there are the Pixel Buds 2a.
We're like, where
Yeah.
are they?
Where are the Pixel ones? They're like, oh, they're in the corner.
Yeah.
And I when I was like, so what's new? And they're like, oh, ANC, and you can talk to Gemini on it. And like the talking point was like, and you can talk to Gemini on it. I was like, couldn't you talk to Gemini on it before? And they're like, but you can talk to Gemini. You can really talk to Gemini on it now. It was like, okay. So the AI is the thing.
And you know what? My big problem with literally all of Google's products, I can't find a way to talk to Gemini. You know, they make it so hard to access that.
And they're
thing.
like, these devices, unlike your phone, they live on you, and so these are the different pathways in which we can talk to AI in your ear, AI on your wrist, AI in your pocket. And I was like, oh my God, okay, new meaning to ambient computing, which is the whole thing that they were kind of talking about when they introduced the Pixel phone. So I guess this is what they meant.
And speaking of Gemini being literally everywhere, they did potentially, we think they teased one other product here, which is just in the middle of a video of where they were demoing some stuff. They kind of just like, there's a weird little gadget that looked like a next gen Nest Hub, Nest Mini, Google Home Mini. There was a little gray orb with like a blue ring around it that was talking to them with Gemini. It looks like a new Nest smart speaker, which those things have been updated forever. And they announced also on Wednesday that they're finally bringing Gemini to smart speakers in the home starting in October. But like Alexa Plus, it's going to be like slow rollout. So we'll see. Have you guys tried using like Google Assistant lately?
Yes. It's in my home. Because we had a smart home package last year, and I was a first-time homeowner. So Jen Tui held my hand and walked me through my first smart home, and
amazing.
she decided that it was going to be a Nest and Google smart home. So I talked to Google Assistant on the daily for my little broken jank smart home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
So it breaks half the time.
Yeah, it's not great. Our 4-year-old has learned how to get Google to say the weather. And the way he just yells at it is like, Google, say, what's the weather today? So I think he's using it as much as we are.
He has gotten it to be more functional than I have. I this weekend, I was like, hey, Google, I'm so sorry to literally every listener.
Yeah.
But this weekend, I was like, what is the weight of an iPad Air? I feel like that's manageable. It was just like, I don't know what a question is. I don't know what an iPad is. Like, what do you, like, it had a meltdown.
Oh, no.
It just didn't know what to do with this.
Mine is sexist because I will ask it to turn on the kitchen lights or whatever, and it'll listen, and my spouse will do it, and it won't. It just does not register. And we trained their voice on it too. So
Rude.
It's interesting. Only listens to me. So they are just like, I don't know why we got to talk to this robot. I'm just going to pull up the app and control it from the phone. So it's yeah.
Well, get ready for October because they're going to sell some new robots that will maybe I truly think they're like, we got to be careful. We can't put Gemini in because we'll lose some Google Assistant features. And I'm like, no, half-broken Gemini cannot be worse than this. These things just do not function anymore.
It's gotten really bad lately. I gotta agree with you. And there'll be times where the wake word, I won't say it, but
I'm sorry again.
The wake word will just activate out of nowhere. I don't know what. I'm like, is my house haunted? Because it'll just go bing boom blah blah and
Oh.
it'll say things. I've been on calls with sources and it just acts up because I have a Nest Hub by my desk and to look at the doorbell, and it's like, oh, cool. I just have a rogue smart speaker.
Mine. Every time I talk to my cat, mine's like, "You're talking to me, right?" I'm like, "Well."
Do they have similar names?
No.
I don't know.
I'm looking forward to seeing any movement here on making these things more usable again. I think we don't really know, but yeah, I'm hoping that a lot of these features come to the older ones just because there's a huge install base there, and that product is obviously not what it once was. All right, we've got to take a break. When we get back, the Thunder Round returns, new, improved, better than ever. Get ready for it. Okay, we're back for a completely de-Googleified, zero Google, zero AI, I think, Thunder Round. That's what is new and improved about it this week. Perfect. As you all know, I've been on a power trip since Neeli and David left. I have disposed of the lightning round. That thing is over. It's stale. It's done with. They could never get to all the stories. So I have given Eric Gomez, our producer, the power of thunder to make sure that we can get through all of the important stuff that we want to talk about. We're going to do 5 stories, 5 minutes each. When we're getting close to time, Eric's going to give us some rolling thunder. That's playing us off. And if we go too far, we will be struck down by a sound that is related to lightning, but is distinctly not lightning because that is not part of this new world. Again, we're working on it. We're working on the intro. We're working on the segment. It's going to get better each week. Okay, first up, what do we got?
We have beans. So Hank Green released this app called Focus Friend. And it is kind of a Pomodoro timer. It is kind of a distraction-free situation. And our good friend Zach Brown wrote, Hank Green's Focus Friend swapped my screen time for bean time. And I love this app so much. I downloaded it recently. And continuing my theme of using the brick for TV time, I am using the Bean app for reading time. And guys, I got through 4 books this week.
How?
That is insane.
I got through
4
books this week. I've gotten through 7 books this month. It's amazing.
Do you read a physical book? Are you on a Kindle?
I am on physical books. I'm on Kindles. I'm on my phone. I'm on audiobooks. I'm on like different formats at
Are you doing audio and physical book like simultaneously?
No,
like how else are you getting through
I
4
can't.
books?
It all makes
This
sense.
is not happening.
That's how you read 4 books.
Yeah,
no,
you're 2xing an audiobook while you're reading.
No, that's not what I'm doing. But so like the issue I've had is just like being way too addicted to my phone. Like I think this is a universal problem at this point in time. And I just, as soon as a notification comes up, I get into panic mode. Like, oh, I have to answer it immediately or someone's going to hate me. But no, I put the bean timer on, the Focus Friend. My bean, you can name your bean. His name is Blorbo. My bean's name is Blorbo. And so Blorbo, the concept is that Blorbo is a radioactive bean that has been like injected into your phone, and he lives there now. And Blorbo's great passion in life is knitting. But Blorbo can't knit if you're on your phone and being distracted. So you put this little timer on, and then Blorbo knits for the time that you are not on your phone. And when Blorbo is done, he has either knitted socks if you're on the free version like me, or scarves if you choose to pay or whatnot. And then depending on the amount of socks or scarves that Blorbo or your bean, whatever you want to name it, has knitted, you can decorate his little room.
That's so nice.
Oh my
It's a little game.
I'm looking at the art and it's so delightful. I should also say, disclosure, Hank Green is going to co-host Decoder next month, which also promo, Hank Green is going to co-host Decoder next month. But this app is just like, it has like Animal Crossing vibes where it's just like kind of quaint and delightful and you just decorate stuff.
Yeah, it's like Animal Crossing vibes mixed with a Pomodoro timer, which if you don't know, a Pomodoro timer is based on like the little tomato kitchen timers. You go for 25 minutes of focus time on a single task, then you take a 5-minute break. You do that 4 times, and then you get a 15-minute break. It's like a productivity thing. I use it a lot. It helps me get started on projects I don't want to do. So that mix just really worked for my brain with reading. And so every morning now, I've become a morning person through sheer force of effort, because no one can interrupt your morning. They can always interrupt and derail your evening. But no one can interrupt your morning if you get up really early.
My 4-year-old wants a word.
Well, true. But like, so my cat loves cuddle time on the couch in the morning. So I put Blorbo the bean timer on. I get the cat.
Oh my
gosh. I open up a book. And for 30 minutes to 45 minutes before work, I have uninterrupted reading
That is
time.
That
so
is-
beautiful.
And that is how I got
That is
through
the
4
single
books this week.
most zen thing I have
It
heard
is
in months.
V, I have a
beautiful.
question. What kinds of
Yes.
stuff can you decorate Blorbo's room with?
There's so because I do it in such short time intervals and Blorbo is not the fastest knitter, I've only been able to buy a shelf. But you can buy a
Oh.
shelf. I think there's a chair.
Poor
There's
sad Blorbo.
it's 75 socks for a shelf, but
Oh,
he just got a
dang.
little pink shelf today. I'm very proud. Blorbo has a shelf
Aw.
to, and it's about the process because every time I take time to read, I'm helping Blorbo knit
Yeah.
socks.
Can he eventually put stuff on the shelf? Is there like little plants you can get?
I think so. Honestly, his sock. I need to read more so that Blorbo can have his
Oh,
little socks.
okay.
Because I'm not.
Report back.
Sorry, Hank Green. I have limited funds. I am not buying the pro version for the scarves.
So wait, why do you get scarves? The scarves, what's
I think scarves are a higher value, and I've seen knitters get mad about this online because they're like
wow.
socks should be higher value than the scarves, and I was just like,
are either of
what?
you actual knitters?
I
No.
have tried, and absolutely not. I cannot do it. It's just knit pearl. I can't do it. My friend is a great knitter, not me. But yeah.
Hank Green should know that. He should be more serious about the relative value of the knitting that this bean does.
I'm here for Blorbo. I'm here for Blorbo to knit socks while I read and sit with a cat just purring on me every morning. It's honestly
I'm here for
improved.
Blorbo. The scientific accuracy concerns me, and I will. Okay.
There's a bean in her phone, and
There's
you're
a
worried
bean
about the
in my
value of
There's a
scarves.
bean that lives in my phone who likes to knit.
Listen. Okay, Allison, what have you got?
Okay, I'll go with the Ricoh GR4. We're going to the camera world. Got a price. So it was announced earlier this year. This is a beloved, camera nerds camera. It's been 1 million years since they announced a new one. The GR3 was 2019. So it's been coming and in the works this fall. They announced the price and it is $1,500. The previous version was $900. So that's a bummer and sort of is giving me Sony RX1R vibes where
Is this all tariffs? What the hell?
I know, that's what
Some
I feel
little
like.
tariffs.
Because I will, the PS5 went up in price this week. So it feels a little bit like maybe this is a tariff thing happening here. But yeah, the RX1R also not updated in a long time. 2015 was the last one. And then that famously, Sony just out of the blue was like, we're making a new one. And it's $5,000.
I had not heard much about the GR3. I did not know that was a camera. And then I think, during the X100 craze, it was the go-to comparison. And it's fascinating because it really is it's a different take on the same kind of idea where it is an APS-C sensor. So you've got a big sensor in a compact camera, but it's even more compact. You can actually pocket this thing. Well, depends on your pocket, but
Big
more so than
pockets.
the X100.
Yeah.
But there's no viewfinder, which is a bummer. It's a different style of shooting, but it's if you want to a point and shoot that takes fantastic photos, this has really been the camera. And at $1,500, you're buying a very, very different type of product.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's kind of flown under the radar a little bit, especially in the shadow of the X100. But it is really a camera person's camera where it's kind of the one that, back at Deeper Review would just be talked about and oh yeah, the Ricoh GR is so nice, The
camera people love the Ricohs.
Yeah. It has that following. It's a smaller following than the Fujifilm, but
I think that's probably it though, because the Fujifilm, I feel like the Fujifilm is you're not a photographer, but you kind of aspire to be. And this is you spend your day lugging around enormous lenses, fiddling with all kinds of dials, and you're thank goodness I can just hit one button and take a good photo.
Yeah.
Like that, it's bringing it all down to like the size of something normal. Also interesting, I think like a couple weeks ago, Fuji raised their prices.
Oh, I
They
missed
experienced the
that.
same thing. Yeah, a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago they raised prices on some of their. One of their cameras went up $800.
This is
The-
absurd.
Oh,
Fortunately,
God.
the X106 went up merely $200. So I think it's at it's at 1,700 now, maybe 800, 1,800.
Can you buy
No,
one though?
it's 1,800 now. I think they're like in stock ish. I think like the last I checked on Reddit, it's like you're not waiting so long anymore.
Okay.
If you,
For
I think
1,800.
so 1,800. So it's that thing's still more expensive. And also, this is what's wild about Fuji. So they announced their price hikes like 2 weeks ago, and just this week they're like, we're gonna have to raise our prices again.
Oh my God.
They're gonna. So at the end of the month, they're like, we're not telling you, but like, buy it now. Like
Right.
these things are not going great for the camera companies.
This is
No.
rough. Like, I mean, there's such uncertainty with the tariffs, right? Because we never know if they're on or if they're off or if they're fully on or off again. Because it's, we need a crystal ball for that. But when they do hit, I really do feel like I'm being punched in the face. Like these are significant price hikes. Like,
I mean, yeah. But right. The PS5 went up $50 this week.
I feel very righteous because I bought mine a couple months ago. I was like, we gotta get on this
Gotta
because
lock
this is
it
only
in.
going up. So save $50
This is-
right there.
Every company just needs to be blaring tariff sale. It's our normal price. We cannot promise it will last.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm very excited to see how this camera has improved. Because at this price, it's a very different prospect than it once was.
Yeah.
But I think particularly given the craze around the X100s, speaking as somebody who owns one, like I want to see more competition in this space. We need
Yeah.
to see more of these like APS-C bigger sensors coming into smaller cameras. It's great. I love it. I wish it wasn't $1,500.
Same. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Got us.
That one got me.
Nailed it.
Okay. So Netflix is changing. And this is, I think, like, we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but they're sort of at the end of an era. I'm going to paint like a little bit of a picture here, right? A lot of their biggest series have been winding down, right? Squid Game just wrapped up 2 months ago. The final season of Stranger Things is about to hit. And we're starting to see this programming shift, right? So earlier this year, they started bringing episodes of Miss Rachel to the platform. Okay, all right. They just announced that Mark Rober, one of the biggest YouTubers, is getting a Netflix series. Also this week, the Duffer Brothers, who make Stranger Things and who previously had a big deal at Netflix to make a whole bunch of new shows and Stranger Things spinoffs, announced they're going to join Paramount in a couple years. And so that to me tells me like their headspace is somewhere else, right? Netflix for the longest time, they were like, had something to prove. We're premium. We can do great stuff. And now the Duffer Brothers are like, hey, Paramount's going to give us a big sack of cash. And they're like, Stranger Things is pretty good, but like, okay. Right? Like, I am curious, like, are you seeing this when you're watching Netflix? Like, I feel like increasingly, I subscribe for those big shows that are basically wrapped up, and I have not started a new Netflix series in a while.
So the difference that I'm seeing is that Netflix is going hard on Korean stuff. Like they are bringing so many K-dramas over that I'm just like, shit, I can't cancel my Netflix subscription.
Wow.
Where am I going to get my K-dramas from? And then, then they had K-pop Demon Hunters like explode. I don't think Netflix was prepared for K-pop Demon Hunters and what a massive phenomenon that's been. But I was like, maybe you should have. Like Squid Games did bonkos for you. The Glory was huge on your platform as well. And then, K-pop Demon Hunters is apparently destroying the Billboard charts, and the honeymoon has been sealed or whatever. So they apparently greenlit 2 more K-pop Demon Hunters movie, possibly a live action and possibly a series
Oh my
going
God.
on all of
Wow.
They
this.
just pounced on that.
They just, because it's the first Netflix thing where the movie, the viewership has gone up over time. So they're
wow.
like, holy
Yeah.
guacamole, what do you mean? It's like, I still think it's
This-
like the number 1 movie on
This
Netflix
is
right
really
now.
like
It's
the
insane.
only Netflix movie that I've heard people discuss after the movie came out. I feel like everything else, you're like, did you see they're doing this? And then it's just done.
Yeah.
That's the
It's
extent
done,
of
and
it.
then-
yeah.
This just keeps going, and like Korea is all on K-pop Demon Hunters right now. Samsung was just like, we're going to get on this, and at Samsung Galaxy Unpacked, they were just blaring the soundtrack. Allison can attest. I went,
I
oh
had
my God, K-pop Demon Hunters.
No idea what I was listening to, and V explained it.
Yeah. So I to your point, I do think they're just going like, screw prestige. We'll just go in on K-dramas, which are produced super cheaply overseas. Let's get in on the YouTubers, which have a built-in audience. It's kind of just like what Google did. And they're just like, we're going to find different distribution. Like,
No, I think there's something there, right? It's like the traditional, prestige stuff, like that's expensive, it's risky, and everyone makes fun of you when you do a bad job. But like, they can pump out however many reality shows they want, and actually, like, there's a pretty big audience for that stuff, and they don't all have to be winners. They can syndicate or bring in a ton of K-dramas. They can see if it's any good. They can make deals for this stuff. They don't have to take on as much risk. And I think the YouTubers, you're right, like there's a built-in audience there.
it just makes sense. And like they're doing a lot of weird live stuff too. Like I was watching Everybody's Live with John Mulaney, and I was like, I didn't know this was a thing.
I signed up and said I could watch the first episode because I'm like, oh, this is crazy. They're doing a talk show with John Mulaney. It's going to be live. And then at the top of the first episode, he's like, we actually did this last year. I'm like, what?
I had the
This
same
is like, what?
reaction.
They've done this
No.
already?
I had the same reaction. I was like,
Like,
what? I
what's-
didn't know they did this last
It's
year.
not live.
They're working on learning how to promote this, I guess.
Yeah, but like to your point, Netflix feels different from what it used to be.
It's clearly in a new era. It is figuring things out. Right? They're doing like the big fights too. There's a lot more here, and it's like the future shape of Netflix is very different. And as somebody who I don't know enjoyed quite a few of those like prestige series they did, a little bummed, but
Listen, you can just watch 40,000 K-dramas. All of them are 15 episodes. They kind of drag around episode 10 where you're like, get on with it, but then it's done, and there's like 4,000 of them.
Well, this is what I've learned. I need to watch K-pop Demon Hunters to prepare for K-pop Demon Hunters 2, 3, and the live action movie.
What I will say is the soundtrack is a banger.
Maybe I'll start there. All right. What have you got next?
So this is a sequel from last week's Corporate Shenanigans. So we have a little mini Corporate Shenanigans sequel where Masimo, maker of medical tech devices, mostly pulse oximeters, is now suing U.S. Customs for allowing Apple to have a workaround from the Apple Watch import ban. And I just think that is chef's kiss. I love corporate beef over patents. It's so, like, as a puny human who, like, worries about paying bills, that I'm just like, these numbers that they're talking about are fake. But also the pettiness. I live for the pettiness of this. They're like, well, we can't get Apple, so we'll get you and your little dog too, U.S. Customs.
This is so good because Apple went to Customs and they're like, this is good, right? Like we snuck it in, we figured something out, and Customs gave them the okay.
Yeah.
And so they can't sue Apple, or maybe they're already suing Apple.
They've already
Whatever.
sued Apple like 5 times.
They're mad at Customs, and so like I guess we'll sue Customs.
Yeah, they're like, we don't like this. Customs, you were out of pocket doing that. Also, we didn't find out about this until Apple announced it. What the heck? So it was just, I just looking at that and I'm like, oh, my show's on.
They're just lashing out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm once again begging everyone to make these sensors useful. Like this is, again, this sensor was missing from the Apple Watch for a year and a half and no one complained.
No.
It's
Well,
true.
like 4 people in my comments complain because I'm the wearable lady. And so if they're going to complain to anybody, it's going
They-
to be me. But most people did not miss this sensor whatsoever. And you just have Masimo being over here like, this is our thing. You can't do this. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here going like, guys, your patent expires in 2028. Like,
This is, I guess, this really is
Oh.
their last hurrah. Like they've got to,
they've,
they
they're
got to
just,
get it now, or they've got nothing.
I feel like they're at this point that I was like, we're in too deep. We've made a stand. We
They've
can't
made
let this. We can't like what was the thing they say at the end of Braveheart? It was just like that's how I imagine them just yelling the Braveheart thing going into battle. They're like for glory or whatever my crappy Scottish accent is, but
Yeah.
just that's how I imagine Massimo just being like blood oxygen. So yeah,
I'm happy for them. I'm glad they're continuing the beef. Allison, last week we decided, are these events shenanigans or are they serious? What is your read of the Masimo situation?
Maybe a little bit of both. I think it makes sense if they got to make the most out of this patent and they're just going to throw a fit with everybody and make it everybody else's problem.
This is, I think I'm with you where it's like, they're dead serious, but it is absolutely futile. They're going to get
So
nowhere.
stupid. I mean,
They're-
Apple has so much money. So nobody knows what Massimo is except for like
Apple will
this.
invent new court systems if it has to.
Apple will be like, okay, bet we'll find a different workaround. Aside from this work, we have time, we have money. Bet we're gonna just not do this. So it's just like I feel like they're just doing this on principle. They're like, we're gonna stand on business, on blood oxygen, this thing that people do not care about extensively, and we are just gonna beef until the sun. It's Kendrick Lamar energy, and
You got to
I'm here
respect
for
it. Yeah.
Like, 2025 is the year of the hater, so I gotta respect it.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay, excited to see where this goes next and how many more lawsuits are filed before the patent expires in 2028.
20,000.
Keep it locked on The Verge. We will have nonstop wall-to-wall Apple patent coverage. That's our promise to you.
Beef.
Allison, take us home. What do we got?
Okay, this is the most important news you'll hear all week. Chipotle is starting drone delivery. This is an article on a blog called Delish. And it's only in like Dallas, I think, right now. But they're calling Texas.
Dallas.
I know.
Come on.
They're calling, it's a partnership with a company called Zipline. I don't know what that is. They have drones, but they're calling it Chipotle.
No.
Yeah.
That I'm not on board with.
Yeah.
Yes.
But can you imagine like chips and guacamole raining down from heaven? Literally.
It's like cloudy with a chance of burritos. I love it.
Yes.
This increases my chance of ordering Chipotle like 10x. Like
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
I
like
just wanna step outside.
DoorDash it or whatever, but like knowing that it would come from the sky from a drone, like no other human would have to know that I am ordering a burrito at whatever hour it is.
I mean, on the other hand, all your neighbors can be like, "Hey, Allison, I saw a small aircraft land in your yard. Like,
Yeah.
what was that important?"
Yeah.
And
UFO. I don't know. But yeah, you order just like in the Chipotle app. It looks like, maybe you need a Zipline app too. I don't know what this is. Chipotle staff place your meal in a zipping point, and then a zip picks it up, takes off, and hovers around 300 feet. And then it lowers your Chipotle bag to your, I don't know, front porch, backyard. It is a little gross thinking about my food just kind of sitting in my yard, but
Listen, I'm just imagining Tim Robbins in Shawshank Redemption. Just, it's rainy. He doesn't feel like cooking. And then he orders this Chipotle. And he goes outside in the rain and goes on his knees and goes, Al Pastor burrito.
yes.
And then it just like launches down from the drone into his
Uh-huh.
mouth. That's my dream.
Okay, legitimately though, this is my question: can this thing operate when like a little rain. Because it was raining, if I'm hungry. Last night it was storming.
Yes.
My fridge was empty. And I'm like, I am going to the grocery store. And I'm like, I'm not ordering delivery. You can't order delivery. These guys are on e-bikes.
Yeah.
That's not the right time.
Oh, yeah, that is
know?
tough.
If I can send a drone out, that drone might crash, but I would get a burrito if it didn't. Which is pretty good. There is a Chipotle in like a 2-block radius of me.
It wouldn't have to go far. The burrito
they could make
would
it,
not be that
They
size.
could throw it. They could just throw it to your front stoop.
Yeah, that's the next step.
But, I think I get why they're doing it in Dallas and not New York City. Could you imagine everyone who's hungry in New York City getting their Chipotle burrito drone and just like, how do you deliver it to an apartment? Is it the drone gonna like fly outside your fire escape and then throw?
Okay, that.
You
burrito?
open the window and you grab it.
Yeah, like that. Could you just imagine that?
That would be perfect.
That would be something. Just like an army of drones with Chipotle burritos in New York City, just descending like a swarm of burrito bees.
If food delivery can go right into my window, that's the epitome of laziness.
It's all over.
It can't get better than that.
I'm here. Screw AI. Why are we not inventing this?
We need to focus on the important technologies.
Yeah.
Drone burritos.
There is a limitation. It can carry orders up to 5.5 pounds.
That's like half a burrito. Like that's not
right.
Like a Chipotle burrito. Those are hefty burritos.
Yeah. Okay. That is not going far.
I've seen my husband order at Chipotle, and that is weighing at least 5 pounds. It's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. They should have started with a different restaurant. Chipotle was not the place for it.
It's a little too heavy. Yeah.
And that's it for the Vergecast. Stay tuned. Allison is hosting on Tuesday. It's going to be a really good show. She's talking about cameras. Is that right?
Cameras and phones.
More cameras. I love cameras. I love cameras and phones. If you like what we do here, the best way to support us is to get a subscription to The Verge at theverge.com. It's a very good website. We all work there. We'd love to hear your questions and feedback. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Email us at vergecast@theverge.com or give us a call, 866-VERGE11. The Vergecast is a production of the Verge and Vox Media Podcast Network. Our show is produced by Eric Gomez, Brandon Kiefer, Travis Larchuk, and Andrew Marino. We'll see you next week.